Since you're clicking on this video, that means one thing. I just want to say that I'm really sorry that you're feeling this way, and I get it. Of course, I can never say that specifically. I don't know exactly what you're going through or the types of things you've been through, but there is a very specific sort of darkness that lives within you when you've been contemplating ending things for years, and I do understand that. It's a very specific sort of darkness that I don't really see in many forms of art, or I don't really hear people talk about it. It's usually talked about only when a specific chain of events happen that lead you to this place, and now you are in this pit. But I don't really hear about people who it's the lifestyle. It's almost comforting because it's what you're used to just be here. This is your base level, this really hopeless state of mind. And I just want to say I'm glad you're here. And I don't mean that you clicked on my video. I mean that you are literally still here with us. And I just wanted to talk about changing your mindset and my own experience, because for me personally, I try to look at the wisdom of others. I try to look at other people and try to learn from them and try to learn from the cautionary tales. And though I'm not an addict and I've never truly suffered with addiction, I feel like I learn from addicts. I feel like when I listen to the story of addicts, of course, the success stories, I feel like they touch me and they help me. And I notice a reoccurring common denominator amongst them is always that they just one day are like, enough is enough. And whether that be reaching rock bottom, or a specific event takes place, or they feel a specific sort of humiliation, remorse, whatever it may be, just one day they're just like, I'm done. That's it. And they continue on that path and they do make it. And I find that really inspiring, and I find that really relatable, just because I am the sort of person who sometimes when I enter a certain mindset, I can just convince myself of something and I'm just like, that's it. I'm letting this go. Or that's it. I am gonna go on this path. And I stick by it, and I think that's really hard to do, because it can't just be something you say. It can't just be something you write down in your journal, or it can't just be something you tell your friend or your family. It's something that you have to really believe, something that you have to talk yourself through or write it down. You have to really go through it and just have resolve. That's it. I am committing to this path. And I do think it's as simple as just telling yourself, suicide is not an option, and I am going to live. It's not easy, but it's simple. And those two things aren't always the same thing. From my personal experience living like this for many, many years, I find that subconsciously, without even really realizing it, you just go through life making a long list of all the reasons why it's logical to end your life. It's logical to, or at the very least, run away from your life. It's logical to just end it because this is not working out. And step one is switching that up. Right there, your value system is messed up. Your value system is clouded. And you need to shift your mind to realize that your life is worth a lot. That your life should be at the top of your value system, not at the bottom. And once you truly believe it, once you force yourself to believe it, because all the things I'm saying, it may sound easy and you probably want more. You're like, why? But why? But why? And I've been there. That's why I say it's hard, because you want a freaking essay of like, here's all the reasons why you should keep living. And that's the thing, when you're in a specific mind frame, those things mean nothing, So that's why you need to force yourself. It's like, do you want to get better? Do you want to have hope? Of course you do. So therefore, you need to force yourself to just flip that switch in your brain and just ending things is not an option anymore. That is off the table. And therefore, every time you start to lean in that direction, every time you start to waver from the path, you could correct yourself and you're like, no, I've already made up my mind. And I think because at some point in the growing up process, we allowed ourselves to believe that that was on the table. And that is a mistake. That is a tragic flaw that we made subconsciously. And this is a thought, or this is a a new chapter I've been on for a few months now. It wasn't until recently when I saw the film Steve that the ending monologue reminded me of another film that I recently saw, and then that reminded me of a comic book, and then that reminded me of a book. And I just thought it was interesting how all these forms of art, spanning over about 200 years, all these forms of art have all been kind of saying the same thing. I consumed all these different forms of art at different points in my life, and they didn't change my life when I experienced them. It may have touched me, but I can't truly say it changed my life. But it wasn't until recently when I saw the film Steve that I was just like, wow, it just all came together, and I just really wanted to share this with you because of that experience. First one comes from Tolstoy's War and Peace. This is Andre, one of the main protagonists speaking, or this is what his thoughts are. And Andre is in the lowest point of his life right now. He has lost his wife. She died during childbirth, and while she was pregnant, pretty much their whole marriage, he didn't treat her well. He wasn't abusive, he just has kind of been depressed his whole life, and he just has not really realized that he has been kind of checked out, and he only feels something when he's on the battlefield, when he's doing something for the army. And his best friend Pierre is also very flawed and has his own troubles, but he never lets go of hope. He is that guy. He is that positive person who believes in a better tomorrow. Even if he does suffer from self-hatred, he believes in a better tomorrow. And he's always urging his friend to have a more hopeful view of the future and of himself. And Andre doesn't. And Andre has just been living this life of detachment, self-hatred, and hopelessness. And then at one point, he just says this: Pierre was right when he said that one must believe in the possibility of happiness in order to be happy. And I now believe in it. Let the dead bury their dead, but while I'm alive, I must live and be happy. So there's that. And then this one comes from Neil Gaiman's The Sandman. Now, a kind of similar situation where, so if you don't know, Sandman follows Morpheus, the king of dreams, and his son is Orpheus from the Greek mythology. And Orpheus, his wife, gets murdered on their wedding day. So understandably so, Orpheus is completely broken, he's completely distraught, and he's in denial. So Orpheus goes to visit his father to ask something of him. And Morpheus comments on the fact that his son missed the funeral. You should have gone to her funeral. You are mortal. It is a mortal way. You attend the funeral. You bid the dead farewell. You grieve. Then you continue with your life. And at times the fact of her absence will hit you like a blow to the chest, and you will weep. But this will happen less and less as time goes on. She is dead. You are alive. So live. And the next one I'm going to quote, I'll play the clip, but it's from Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. And the creature, chances are, if you're clicking on this video, you can relate to the creature, as I can. And the creature did not ask to be born. He feels cursed. Simply being who he is a violation to nature. Simply being alive is a mistake, and therefore he wishes to die. But that is impossible. He wishes to be normal. That is impossible. And at the end of Victor Frankenstein's life, he says this to him:
And if you have it in your heart, forgive yourself into existence. If death is not to be, then consider this, my son, while you are alive. What recourse do you have but to live?
And now, Steve, the one that started all this. So I love that film. Link to my review so you can check it out. So I'm not going to play the clip and I'm not going to quote it, because what I'm talking about is essentially a 5-minute conversational monologue towards the end of the film. But essentially in this monologue, Cillian Murphy is speaking as Steve, and he plays a teacher at a reform school full of kids that have really intense emotional issues, terrible home lives, and criminal records. And Cillian, and the entire staff, by the way, truly love these kids, truly care for them. They're not there for a paycheck. In fact, working there is a money pit. They're there for passion. And Cillian is expressing to another teacher his perspective on all these kids, and then he starts talking about a specific kid and how he feels that this kid understands a level of melancholy a level of despair that the other kids don't, and how he understands that kid, and how he just wishes he could make him and all the kids feel better, and how he could give them hope. And Killian goes on to say all the cliches we've heard before, and he admits it in the monologue. Like, I know I'm rambling, and I know I'm just saying the things that we know already, you know, but it's true. At the end of the day, it's true. You don't know what tomorrow will bring. You don't know what the future holds for yourself. You don't know about the places you'll visit, the people you'll meet, the art you will consume. And he emphasizes that who knows, and that is enough. And what I also love is that he touches on the fact that he's like, you won't always feel this way. And he tells the teacher, and of course I know I'm lying. And I know what he means when he says that. He doesn't mean you will suffer for the rest of your life, but he means that for the people who truly have broken minds, those issues will persist. Those issues, that melancholy, that anxiety will never leave you. But if you make a choice to have hope, because hope is a choice, if you make a choice to have hope, you won't always technically feel this way, because you will have hope now. That will change the way you look at life, the way you look at yourself. And I just think that's powerful. It's helped me, and I feel like it must help someone else. And perhaps right now I won't help you, but hopefully this stays in your mind. Just like how all these quotes stood in my mind. And they didn't help me in the moment, but later they kind of came back and they served their purpose. And I hope this video can serve as that for you. And I recommend you consume all the art I just referenced. And if you like what I have to say, check out my That's Life playlist, where I talk about life, my observations on life, on people, on books, but more specifically, my philosophies. As an old friend of the family used to say with the thick Mexican accent, keep on going. Thanks for watching.